I live? I'm live. I better pay attention, folks, because they got this camera pointed on me. Hey, folks, I'm sorry. I've been distracted. I've been doing an extra half-hour special here for the folks on Instagram because Instagram always cuts us off halfway through. So I thought, well, I'll do a little exclusive just for these Instagram folks. And anyhow, we're live with episode, what are we, 105 of Elk Talk Live. That's an awful lot of episodes of Elk Talk Live to have been doing for the last 3 years. But we want to make sure everybody knows who makes this possible, right? Go Hunt. They're the ones who bring all this together. They're like, bring your crew in, bring everybody together, and let's talk about elk hunting every Wednesday night. So do me a favor, if you're into this kind of stuff, when you go out to Go Hunt and sign up for the Insider, use promo code Randy, because it tells them that we actually know what we're doing. And they'll give you a $50 gift card in their gear shop. So that's another reason to do it. Remember, what's our motto? Don't pay full retail. So we'll go through all these other companies that end up giving us really, really good deals. What do we got? A bunch of spammers here already tonight? I see we got a bunch of messages already retracted. So here's the rules when you're hanging out on my platforms for a live event. If you aren't here to have fun, you're done. You're like, poof, gone. So no cussing, no politics, no complaining, just nothing but smiles and good time, loving America, greatest country in the world. And if you don't like that, you'll see that you get deleted. So sorry about that. Anyhow, I hope that none of you missed the Arizona deadline yesterday. We had a guy in our office who edited my video about what to do in Arizona. Michael, he edits the video that I did. That's the very first thing I said in Arizona is, right, don't wait till the last day because they just changed their system. And it's going to be a train wreck because everybody's going to show up on the 8th and 9th. And what's Michael doing all day on the 8th? He had to quit selling and hawking all my gear on Craigslist that day because it was the only way that he could get his application done. It cost me a whole day of work because Michael didn't listen. He's such a great guy. Audio is cutting out. Hey, what's the deal, boys? We got audio problems. Hey, we got audio problems.
No, we're not talking about it.
Oh.
It should be,
Sorry about that, folks. I'm yelling at my production crew there. It says we got audio problems. See, I got to wear one of these. See that? And I got this fuzzy right here. What's our deal? Are we okay on audio now? What's the deal? Yeah, you guys got to be listening to that. All right. So, which state am I going to hunt with Corey on Destination Elk? I don't know. So, what do we got going on here, boys? We got a bum mic. Are those batteries dead? Is it crackling? Huh. I don't know. What would you guys do? Would you guys just throw the audio out and say, heck with it, let's go with the shotgun mic? And someone says, oh, it sounded better when Randy moved his battery pack. Huh. Is it still cracking? All right, I'm going to set it right there. Okay. In and out. Yeah, it's YouTube. I always blame the camera guy. There you go. I'm blaming the camera guy. So, are you on shotgun? Is it working now, folks? They put me on a shotgun mic and got me off this doodah here. Leave the battery pack on the table. Sounds better. I know you folks over here see, here's the benefit of listening to me on Instagram. Instagram's not dialed up to this thing. So, snap, crackle, pop. Sorry, folks. Saw you had a llama. Did you rent it? Yeah, I rented it from my buddy Bo Beatty, and I own one. I talked to Bo today. This winter, my llama, Mac, has gained 30 pounds. He's going to be the real deal, man. I mean, like, he is going to be really, really big. So we still got more audio. Jim Nygaard is on here. Jim, what are you doing, man? Jim Nygaard, is this like the real Jim Nygaard? I think that could be a plant. A guy named Jim Nygaard, his dad and my dad used to work together as loggers in the woods. But, so. Obamacare is causing the audio trouble. Oh, that person watches our content because that's an inside joke in my family. I'm sorry. It's still cutting in and out, guys. I think that's why we do audio checks usually beforehand. But evidently we didn't do an audio check. I'm going to talk, and folks, I'm sorry about the audio problem. We used this same audio pack this morning. Batteries are fully charged. So, is it doing it on shotgun mic also? Well, then it's something in one of the cables going from there to the feed. Because we wouldn't have a problem with both the shotgun and the pack. It's not bad, but we can still understand. Maybe you guys got to read my lips. My wife says that hey, Jonathan, Matthew just texted and said, check your phone. He's got a solution for you, I think. So, there's so many people, you know, what's the old saying? How many Finlanders does it take to change the light bulb? Well, right here. How many people does it take to do a live event? Me, Paul, Jonathan, and over in Oregon is Matthew. It takes 4 of us, and we still can't get it right. Did I make it in the Arizona draw? I did, Mike. Hopefully you did also. So someone says, I see you use walking sticks on your hunts. Do they help? I'm 72 years old and thinking about it. Yes, Larry, they help a ton. I mean, they help a lot. So, Lewis says, keep driving. We can deal with this. Randy Engel says, it's really easy to read lips when your wife says no. Do I hunt Utah for elk? If ever they give me a tag, I will. I've had one tag one time. Let's see. Bigger binos or a spotting scope? If I already have a decent pair of binos, I'm going with a spotting scope versus that, you know. If I have a pair of 10 power, I'm not going to a 15 power until I already have a spotting scope. So spotting scope would be second. Jackass, hey Randy, how's the new Iowa 6.5 PRC and you hunt elk with it? You know, it's been so cold I haven't had a chance to go do it, go shoot it. So I can't really answer that. But let's see. Why does Wyoming keep our money for 5 months? That's a good question. Because what, we applied in end of January, so they keep it February, March, April, and May. And then they give it to us in the middle of June. Yeah, 4.5 months they keep our money. Huh. Is it unethical to shoot an albino deer? I don't know. Some people might say that. I guess I wouldn't get that worked up about it. It's just an anomaly of nature. I wouldn't be too worried. But so let's see. There was another one. Closed captioning provided by Leopold. Let's see. I saw another one here that I wanted to get to, but they're scrolling through so fast. Where did it go? What do I think about Colorado bringing the wolf back? I think it's a bad idea to do anything with, we call it ballot box biology. To put something out there and not do it based on science when it's going to have huge impacts across the landscape, I'm not in favor of that. So we did eat the wolf last week. Everyone used to ask about, hey, how'd the wolf taste? We ate it. Paul just gave it the thumbs up. I gave it the thumbs up. The bad part is I ruined it by overcooking it. But you have to overcook it that, well, there's diseases and other stuff that could come into it. So you got to cook it really hard, really high for a long time to get rid of those diseases. And that took some of the texture. Maybe it made it tough, let's put it that way. But the flavor was very mild. So I think flavor-wise, everybody was happy. All right. So Patrick asked a question. This is a little bit of a history lesson about our platforms. Hey, Randy, your later episodes are called Fresh Tracks on YouTube, but are called On Your Own Adventures on YouTube, but are called Fresh Tracks on Amazon. Now, when we first started, we were on the Outdoor channel, and that was On Your Own Adventures, and we did that for 4 years. And then the experts in the industry said, you got to have something with a dashier title, and it's got to have your name on it. And so they came up with all these ideas, and I junked them all. And I went with Sitka. I went with Fresh Tracks with Randy Newberg. And so everything stayed the same other than the name change. And I'll be quite honest with you, I kicked myself for doing that. That's just, sometimes you listen to experts and your gut tells you one thing. Well, I should have listened to my gut. Because did I get sick from the wolf or from COVID? The wolf came after I got COVID. So, let's see. How warm is Sitka? Every video I see with the gear, everyone says I'm cold. I just want to invest in something that's not worth it. I don't get cold in my Sitka gear, so I'm not sure. If we're getting cold in our Sitka gear, it's our own fault because we're not layering properly or something. So if you see my crew cold in their Sitka gear, let me know. I want to teach them how to use it, or I'm going to have to fire them. So, let's see. Maybe use a sous vide next time for the wolf. Eric, that's what I cooked it in, was a sous vide. And I was told that I had to do it for 4 hours at 165 degrees. So I did it for 3.5 hours at 170, and it was tougher than boot leather, man. It was like bad. But the flavor, I thought, was pretty darn good. Is he here? Let's see. What was that one? Have I ever tried wolf chili? No, I haven't. So a bunch of you are asking. I'm going to move this for a second, folks. The Instagram folks are going to get a little bit of a move here. So I was telling the Instagram folks this, and now a bunch of you have asked the same thing here on YouTube and Facebook. And it's about a bill that is in the Montana legislature called Senate Bill 143. A lot of you had asked about it. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, and between us and a bunch of other people who put the word out, thousands and thousands of emails went into the Montana State Senate. And some of them complained, I got 4,000 emails just this weekend, and some said I got 7,000 emails on this bill. But here's what it was, or what it is. It's going to take 60% of the tags, our non-resident combo tags that you non-residents get to apply for deer and elk. And it's going to put them in a pool where the outfitter clients get priority for those 60%. The other 40%, all the rest of you get to fight over those, which is complete BS in my mind. In a little history, that's how it used to be in Montana, and we had a statewide citizens ballot initiative in 2010 that overturned the system. So now we got a legislature who's coming here saying, we know what's best for you. We want to go back to how it was. So, fortunately, you guys really put the heat on them, and they took their bill, and the very first thing the sponsor said is, I'm here to tell you that we think we should amend this bill. That right there is code word for we're getting our butt put in the squeeze, so we're going to rethink this. And it's also kind of a pressure release valve. So they do a hearing on it, and they put it back in committee, and I think tomorrow they're going to bring it out of committee and pass it with 40% of the tags going over here in a pool specific for outfitters. Which, again, the state of Montana, the residents said, we don't want that. It passed, it was on the ballot. It passed a statewide ballot initiative that said, get rid of that idea. But they still want to go through with it. So if it passes out of committee, it'll go to the Senate. If it passes the Senate, it goes to the House. It'll be in a committee there, and then it'll go to the House. If it passes there, it'll go to the governor. So there's going to be multiple steps along the way to continue to push back against it. But right now, it's being amended, and all rumors are it's going to come out of committee likely tomorrow. And instead of being 60%, it's going to be down to 40%. So already, all the pressure that you guys have put on them already has them retreating. So we just got to keep after it, keep after it, keep after it. So well, let's see. Josh Yates, we were wondering this. So Josh just heard what I said about the sous vide. I had read on the USDA site that you can pasteurize anything by keeping it at a lower temperature for a longer period of time. And Josh says, you might get away with cooking that wolf at a lower temperature for a longer period of time. I'm a chef and I could look into it for sure. There's a way to make that wolf tender next time. Josh, I wish I would have talked to you before I completely clobbered that thing. I mean, it tasted like something Grandma Harriet made, man. She was into burning everything. Like, burn it and burn it more. Let's see. Have I ever killed the mountain lion? No, I haven't. We have the next deadline coming up. We've already covered Arizona and we've covered Wyoming. The next deadline coming up is Utah. That's on March 4th. So next week, bring your questions about Utah. 2 weeks after that, almost 2 weeks, March 17th is New Mexico deadline. And we'll cover that the second week of March, or probably the first week of March. If you have questions on any of that stuff, bring them here. And because this is Elk Talk Live, and we're here to talk about elk hunting as much as we possibly can. So Chris asked, do you think the Kentucky elk draw is a decent draw? The way they run it is a decent draw, but the odds as a non-resident are like so low, really low. So here's a good question. It's one that we talk about a lot in our office. It says, Randy, when you're on Go Hunt and you use the little slider bar on the insider, because it'll tell you how much public land is in each unit. How much public land is enough to draw my attention in order to apply? I'm looking at a popular unit in Colorado, and there's 40% public land. Is that good? And it's a little bit of an answer of it depends. If all 40% of that is in one block, that's going to be a pretty big chunk of land. Now, if it's all checkerboard and scattered and isolated, probably not. So we usually try to have at least 50%. But if it was a unit with only 40%, but it was all in big blocks, we'd probably consider that. So let's see. When is the Montana deadline? You know, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't posted it. I think it's going to be April 1st, but I don't. We're supposed to do an episode today about the Montana draw system, but I went out to their site and this morning it didn't have the date officially posted. So I thought, last thing I want to do is record a video and give people the wrong date, but I think it's going to be the 1st of April. So, and Montana now has a really quick turnaround. I was surprised. We're at like a 2-week turnaround on Montana's draw, so that's really good. Where's my favorite place to hunt elk in New Mexico? Anywhere. If you give me a New Mexico elk tag, I'm going to be there and I'm going to have a big smile on my face. Do I ever hunt for elk sheds? No, I don't. I just hang them in trees when I get them. What was that one? Someone asked, do I think Do you think that the hunting woods were busier this year? Yes, I do. I think between COVID, a lot of people not having to work every day, being able to work from home, I think a lot more people spent time in the woods. I think also with this whole pandemic thing, people are starting to think about their own independence, their able to provide for themselves. And so there was a huge interest in hunting. We had 7 million new gun owners this year. We had big changes in a lot of things this year. Is Wyoming making interest off the fees they hold? No, Wyoming statute does not allow them to make interest on that. So let's see. So someone keeps asking the same question over here on yeah. It's funny. Some of you ask the same question time and time and time again. The more times you ask it, the lower the likelihood that I'm going to answer it. Because usually it's like right now, Root Solid has asked this same question, I don't know, 10, 12 times already. And I've answered it many, many times. And so when that question keeps throwing into the feed, copy and paste throwing into the feed, I'm probably going to ignore it completely. So, I don't want to end my video. So, what do we got there? Anyhow, Randy, when are you giving away things from your garage sale so I can plan my vacation to Bozeman? I was telling the crew Monday, I think it was, it's time for a come and get it event at my shop. I have so much debris there, it is crazy. So, yeah, I gotta do something. I just have so much junk there. It's not good. What happened to all the ammo? That's a good question. Michael sold it all on Craigslist, I think. I got 3 boxes right here, if that counts for anything. Do you think that elk meat tastes different from state to state? Well, that's a good question. I've never really thought about that. It's always tasted good, so I never thought, is there this or is there that? Is this or is it that? I don't know. Maybe that's something I'm gonna keep track of. Hey Randy, are we gonna get another shop story? Yeah, Jonathan's got 2 of them lined up for me, but I apologize. I gotta be in the mood. You sometimes you got the storytelling juices flowing and it works. And then sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind, I'm so stressed out, or I'm so tired, or whatever. I'm looking for ways to get in that storytelling mode. And when I do, we got some lined up. So, I have 3 points for Wyoming after this year. Would you apply for a general tag in Wyoming? Heck yeah, go. Just that general tag in Wyoming is a really good tag, and for 3 points, it's about as good as it gets. Randy, will you ever consider hunting in North Dakota? We've done it one time. We did archery mule deer in a December hunt, really cold. But I'm probably not gonna go back. Nothing against North Dakota. It's just that our audience looks at us to do more Western hunting, and by that I mean the Rocky Mountain states. So that's where we end up doing all of our stuff. So, let's see. I'll be at your garage sale. Okay. Well, we might not tell everybody when it is. What's the best size of a cooler to hold an entire elk? I get asked this a lot, and it depends on how much ice you're going to put in there. So I like to put a lot of ice in there and keep it frozen, because I got to drive from, say, Arizona to Montana. Some people, they're like, well, I want to try cram it all in 2 coolers. So if I'm only doing 2 coolers, I do, 85-ish quart coolers, 75s. I can do a full elk, boned out, with 2 65s and a 75. And if you want to save money on a Yeti cooler, go to gohunt.com. Use promo code Randy when you check out in their gear shop, and they'll give you 10% off Yeti coolers, off Mystery Ranch backpacks, off everything they carry, other than Sitka gear and some of their optics. So Am I ever going to elk hunt in Alaska? Probably not. Alaska has their elk are Roosevelt elk, and if I'm going to go Roosevelt elk hunting, I'm probably going to go to Washington or Oregon. So let's see. Do I ever do any fishing trips? Oh, you should see my wife's boat. Oh man, and yeah, we fish a lot. At what age do elk start to bugle? Spikes bugle, so I would say for sure a year and a half. Have I used my pack raft for a hunt yet? Marcus brought it to Alaska, and they were going to use it for his moose hunt. We were going to do a hunt in Idaho on a river, and that got canceled thanks to dang COVID stuff. But alpaca rafts. If you want an alpaca raft and you're going to buy one, use promo code Randy out there, and you'll save a bunch of money. They're really cool. We're going to be using them this spring. Michael and Marcus have Alaska bear tags, and they're going to use the alpacas strictly for that hunt. They're flying in. They're not even renting a skiff. They're just flying in with their little alpaca rafts. Off they go. So, Randy, did you invest in Bitcoin? No, I'm not. If I want to gamble, I'll go to Vegas. But I might look like an idiot someday for not investing in Bitcoin. You guys will all laugh at me someday. What size spotter do I put in my pack for multi-day trips? I have it, if I'm going on multi-day trips where weight is a big issue, I've got a Leopold Gold Ring 60 millimeter right up there. That's the lightest, most compact one they make, and it's got really good glass. For me, it's the best combination of low weight, compact size, and quality glass. So that's what I use on a multi-day backpack hunt. So. Oh, let's see. What is that? Do elk eat more grasses or brush? They're grazers. They prefer, if at all possible, to eat grasses and some forbs. They will browse if they have to, but if you're in a country with a lot of browse, you're probably in mule deer country more than elk country. So, let's see. When it comes to drinking your Big Hank coffee, do you use whole bean or ground in the backcountry? We use ground. We bring a little pour over system, and it works great. Oh, and if you go to elkhorncoffeeroasters.com and use promo code Randy, I think they give you 15% off any orders over $30. So. Randy, do you carry your own hunting equipment or do you push it on the camera guys? If I gave those guys my hunting gear, they're already so loaded up and they'd quit. They'd throw it back at me and say, "Take a hike, pal." So, no, we don't. What you see is what you get with us. Some people are like, "Newberg, why do you carry so much stuff?" Well, it's just what we need for filming and producing, and if we shoot something, and so that's why I have a really good Mr. Ranch backpack. I need it for all the gear that we carry. Let's see, Montana or Colorado for an over-the-counter archery hunt? Well, Montana you have to draw the tag, so it isn't truly over-the-counter. But if you ask me a general Montana tag versus an over-the-counter Colorado, I'm going with Montana all the time for the general archery tag. Tim Glom, what's my thoughts on the new pivot quiver from Tight Spot? It's like, there you go. So you can save 10% on your Tight Spot quiver out at gohunt.com also. So as a default, if you're shopping for products that we use, go to gohunt.com to their gear shop. See if they have it, and if they do, put it in your cart and use promo code Randy, and you're going to get some money off. That's the way I would do it. Let's see. Can I do a Q&A with my film crew? I don't know if they they would want to do that. Or I don't know if I'd want to do that. If they did their own Q&A session, oh man, they'd have to block me from watching that video because they'd really lay it out there about what kind of guy I am. That would not be good. Oh man. Not good at all. Randy, is there anywhere to find a 7M 08? Yeah, there's lots of them out there. The 7M 08 that's in the Randy Newberg version, I don't know if we have one here. We have a gun vault, not vault, rack over there. We don't have a Randy Newberg series, do we? Okay. So you can get those at Sportsman's Warehouse. Do I shoot a boat deck boat? Yep. I have a Session, I have a Realm, I have all kinds of them. Love them. Been using them for a long, long time. Do I have a Dairy Queen promo code? I don't. So many people tell me they've went to Dairy Queen and they didn't honor the promo code. Sorry about that. I'd love to get one with them. That would be so cool. But I almost wore my Dairy Queen hat for Elk Talk tonight. I have a Dairy Queen hat. And my wife said, why would you wear a Dairy Queen hat for Elk Talk? And the whole idea was that these are small franchises, okay? They're owned by independent people. They're small businesses. And whenever I can, I go and support these small businesses. To the point, even here in Bozeman, I don't know where anything is at Costco or Walmart. I go and shop with the little merchants whenever I can. When we go on trips, I don't gas up in the big city. I gas up when we get out in the little town. I buy my groceries most of the time when we get out in the little town. In my life as a CPA, I've helped hundreds and hundreds of small businesses, and I'm always trying to help them. So I was explaining that to my wife, that I think we should go help these small businesses like a Dairy Queen franchise. And so that's why I almost wore my Dairy Queen hat. So, are you ever going to get another bison over-the-counter tag? They don't have over-the-counter bison tags, Carter. Or if they do, tell me where at. I'll be getting one. I've drawn Montana and I've drawn bull tag in Utah, and I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to have another one of those. So, let's see. Randy, any suggestions for replacement of your book you always recommend called Elk and Elk Ecology? You know, I really don't have a better answer to that. I'm hoping that pretty soon the Wildlife Management Institute will get that book back in print, or they'll make it a digital book, which would be really, really good. So someone's saying, I'm having a hard time finding ammo. Boy, I'm with you there. Really, really a hard time. I'm on a text message first name basis with the folks at Nosler, and they're like, hey Randy, you might want to get an ammo order in because we don't know if we can get you any. Whew. And they're running nonstop. I mean, Nosler is just smoking it out the door. But when you have 7 million new gun owners, let's say they each buy 2 boxes of ammo. Right there's 14 million boxes of ammo. That's part of why we have a shortage. So, let's see. Randy, what's your opinion on the Oklahoma bill for Bigfoot hunting? If I lived in Oklahoma and my legislature thought that it was worth wasting people's time with a Bigfoot bill, I'd probably get them unelected. I think it's kind of funny, but it's... So a lot of people are asking about SB 143. We've talked about it twice already this evening. So I'm going to be doing a series with Marcus next week. Marcus and I are going ice fishing, and it's called Civics for Hunters. In other words, how SB 143 and all this other stuff works and why it's important to you. If you are a hunter, I'm just going to put these basic points out there. And I don't care if you're way over on this side, way over on that side, somewhere in the middle, doesn't matter. But here's what's happened in the last 25 years. Our issues, historically, had always been solved by game and fish commissions. And we have a lot of influence with game and fish commissions. Well, the people who don't like the way things are take our issues and they pull them over to the legislature. And so they become political battles. And the reason they do that is, one, they know we're not very good at politics. They know we hate politics. They know all of the groups that we set up to be our advocacy groups for conservation, for all this other stuff. They're really restricted in how much political activity they can be involved in. So we're kind of slow to the game there, and we're way behind. So the point of this series with Marcus is going to be how to help people understand that you can make a difference, but you got to be over in this process of learning and understanding how politics works, because that's where the game is being played now. It's no longer at your Game and Fish Commission. So it's unfortunate. Someone has a good point here. The Canuck 11 says, well, I'd rather have my legislature focus on Bigfoot hunting than some of the stupid things they come up with. You got a point there. You know, in Montana, our legislature meets for 90 days every 2 years. And the joke is we wish they'd meet for 2 days every 90 years. Because they always find something to mess up. So, Randy, Raptor or Tundra for hunting? I test drove a Raptor, I test drove a Tundra, and maybe the next Tundra that comes out will be a good off-road rig without a ton of modifications, but right now it needs a lot of aftermarket stuff to get it to where some of like the Power Wagon or the Raptor are. And it's weird to me because the Tacoma is like the best truck in its class by a mile. So how can Toyota make such a great truck in the Tacoma, but they can't take that same, just drive it off the lot, go four-wheeling? Why can't they do that with the Tundra? So, oh well. Now I'm going to get all the hate from all the Tundra owners, but it's just, I'm a big fan of the Tacomas, but not of the Tundras. Someone says, if we come to the, I had a dream that I came to the Randy Newberg garage sale in Bozeman and I tried to use promo code Randy. No promo code needed. What's the typical elevation elk are located at during the early archery season? That's so hard to answer, because if you're in Colorado and you're starting out at 10,000 feet, they're going to be somewhere up there. If you're in central Montana and you're starting out at 3,000 feet and the highest peaks are 7, you really can't say. But there are some common things that the studies show about what elk prefer. Elk prefer to bed in the top 1/4 of a slope. Now, whether that's the big mountain or maybe it's a foothill or whatever, when I'm glassing, I'm looking at that top 1/4. And they also like to bed on a slope that's less than 20 degrees. Over 20 degrees, they prefer not to. So right there's a couple things that you can use to kind of craft ideas about where am I going to find elk when they're bedded. It's not so much an elevation thing as it is the lay of the terrain. So Colton says, hey Randy, your table is sick. This table was a dead tree over here on Wilson Avenue in Bozeman. And some of my CPA clients went and cut it down, the folks out at Big Timber Works. And they make these big, thick tabletops. This thing is 3 inches thick. And they salvage all these old trees and they make them into cool tabletops. So, and coming from a logging family, for me, I love salvaging trees and timber. So, Randy, will you guys be covering the Nevada draws this spring? Yep, we'll have a video on that. That draw deadline, they moved it this year, I think, to May 1st. So we'll get to that one probably in, I don't know, April 10th, plus or minus a few days. But Nevada's got some great elk hunting. It's just unfortunate that it really takes a lot of points or a lot of luck, one or the other. Have I ever come across 2 bulls fighting in my lifetime of hunting? I have a couple times, but not like just getting after it fighting. I've had them, do it for a little bit, but I've seen some of this footage that's really tearing it up. And I always hope that someday I'm going to see that. Sometimes I've heard it. I've been out there and you can hear the clacking of antlers and you hear all the hoof beats, but I've never walked up and really got to see it. Hey Aaron, how you doing? When will I do the New Mexico draw? That's coming pretty soon. So Tom is fine from Big Falls, my hometown. Tom, don't be talking anything about me. There's only 200 people still live in Big Falls, so I'm one of 200. If you ever go to northern Minnesota, stop into Big Falls. Go to the local pub or stop in at Promer's Burgers and ask them, is this Randy Newberg guy for real? And they'll be like, how much time you got? This guy he's faking it all. So, what's the best state to start applying for points? I did a video with this last week with the folks down in Go Hunt, and we talked about, and you'll see it on their YouTube channel, a short-term, mid-term, long-term plan and how you can hunt elk every year. And if your budget's limited, I highlighted what states I would apply for and start building points. And it's always the same 2 states that I think are the best value, Arizona and Wyoming. You get way more value out of your license in the case in Arizona, or way more value out of your points in Wyoming than any other states. So if you have a limited budget, those are the 2 states I would focus on. Chris Manders, you must be related to Mike. My grandpa used to own the station in Big Falls, Minnesota. Yeah. Your grandma Rose was my neighbor. I used to mow her lawn. Wow. That's a blast from the past. I wonder if your mic's on. Are draw odds worse in 2021 than 2020? You know, I'm not sure if they will be. It's hard to say. You never know until the results come out. But every year, there's always a few more people and a few more people, or a bunch of people who were just buying points. If you watched our point creep video, they're just buying points and you don't even see them in the draw odds, and all of a sudden they jump in one year. Well, you can't account for that. You don't know what these people over here are going to do. They never show up except, all right, buying points. So, hard to say. When are the elk stats typically posted in Colorado? A lot of them should already be there. Depends on what stats you're looking for. A lot of them are probably already up there. I go to all that stuff. You go to the Colorado website, it's there. Or if you're a member of the Insider, you can go and get a lot of that information from the Go Hunt Insider, and it's more consolidated there. You don't got to peck and search like you do on the website. Let's see. Jake says, Randy, my 2-year-old daughter just saw you on the computer screen, pointed and said elk. I wish I had my, we don't have a diaphragm call with us, do we? I do an elk call for her. Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, if you go there and use promo code Randy, they'll give you 15% off. Let's see. What is that? Do you think the capping and spreading of Idaho non-resident elk hunters will appease residents? You know, I don't know. Hard to say. You just never know what. And so if you don't live in the West, and I'm not going to pick on Idaho guys because my friends and us here in Montana, we're the same way. Everything gets blamed on the non-residents, okay? And I think I even have this on this laptop right here. I did an article about how many, or what the growth of population was. I don't know if I have it here. I'm going to look and see. The population increase of the western states. It's ridiculous how many new residents we have in these western states. And I would bet the majority of them moved here and are hunters just like most of us. But who do we blame all the hunting pressure on? Non-residents. Oh, damn non-residents, you know? And it's kind of a form of sport in all the western states, Montana included. We blame everything on you non-residents. And I go to the trailhead. Most of the new plates that I see You know, the new rigs that I notice are different than what the rigs I've seen in prior years. Most of them are resident rigs. So I don't know. I don't think we'll ever get out of that mode of Westerners. They're always going to blame you non-residents for everything. You guys pay way more, you get a smaller percentage of the tags, but you get blamed for everything. Have I ever hunted the Manitoba subspecies of elk? I never have. It'd be cool to get to do it, but I haven't. All right. So, someone says, I'm sorry that I keep asking, but do you say bullet or cartridge? Because I've heard it both ways, but I know that the entirety of what you place in the rifle is called a cartridge. Yeah, I call it a cartridge. A little tip on the end, I call the bullet. I mean, sometimes I'll get in a hurry and I'll get mixed up, but they're right here. This is a cartridge, and this is a bullet. That's, some people, it's interchangeable. I won't get too worked up about it. You know, it's kind of like horn and antler, right? When people use it, we all know that antlers are something that shed every year, and horns are something that don't. And antler is bone, and horn is hair, and I think they call it keratin. I know what people are talking about, so I don't get too worked up about it. If I can get worked up about the difference between antler and horn, it means that my life, I need to reset my priorities. But let's see. Did I take my first elk with a bow or rifle? With a rifle. I took my first probably dozen elk with a rifle. Do I think that Unit 10 in Arizona is good or bad for elk? If I look at the draw odds, it looks like it must be really good because it's a very hard unit to draw. And in 2005, I had a rifle elk tag in there and shot a really nice bull. Chad asks, is there anything better than Sitka's Timberline pants when hunting elk? If there is, tell me what it is, because that's part of my uniform. My Jetstream jacket and my Timberline pants. That's all I need. Randy, do you have dogs? I had 3 dogs, 2 labs and a cockapoo. The labs died 4 and 7 years ago, and last Thursday we put the cockapoo down. She was almost 18. Lily dog. Love her to death. Miss her. Hey Randy, would I use a 257 Weatherby Magnum for elk? Yeah, I would. I have a 257 Weatherby Mag. It's an amazing cartridge. I would use some super quality bullets in my cartridges, right? Going on what we just talked about there. And I wouldn't be worried about it. How do you keep hair off the meat when skinning in the field? Well, it's not completely possible, but one thing you do is you cut with the grain of the hair, because you cut fewer hair follicles when you follow the grain of the hair. So that's the first thing you can do. The other part is know where to cut, so cut where the hair is shorter, like the inside of the legs and the lower part of the legs, and work from there. Don't cut where the hair is super long and really thick, but you're still going to have some hair on your meat. So when you get home, ever see those little plumber's torches? Get one of those and just whoosh, and those hairs will go whoosh, gone. So no charge for that advice. But I don't know any place you can buy a plumber's torch and use promo code Randy, so I'm probably not of much help there. Let's see. Do I put pineapple on my pizza? Who doesn't? If you don't like pineapple on your pizza, you're probably a communist. So now I just made probably half the crew mad here. So I'm just joking with that. Have I ever saved elk hides for tanning? No, I haven't. What do you think about Sitka's everyday clothing? Well, right here, I'm wearing one. I love their everyday stuff. Really good. What power of spotting scope do I prefer? Do I use straight or angled? I use straight myself. My crew loves angled. It's what you prefer. I don't get too worked up about whether someone's straight or angled. And my Leupold Sanium SX5 is a 27 to 55 power, 80 millimeter. So, am I in the Randy room? No, I'm not in the Randy room. This is our recording facility right here. So someone wasn't paying attention. Mud Monster wants to know, when is the drawing for your hunt through RMEF? That was done on December 28th. So, you got all those prizes sent out yet, Paul?
Just waiting on the right.
We got one prize yet. The rifle's yet to be delivered. So, the winner was from Georgia. Sean from Georgia won. Then the prize winner was from Iowa, right? The guy who won the prize package. So, yeah, we did a whole live Facebook event around that. So, what's the best state for over-the-counter elk? Well, if you could get in on Idaho before they all get sold out, that would be your best chance. But the over-the-counter stuff from Colorado can be pretty darn good. How do I avoid burnout on a super long hunt? I get burned out like everybody else. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and BS you. When you spend 100 days a year doing what we do, you spend a lot of time behind the steering wheel driving, late nights and bad weather. And you get there, you tear down camp or set up camp. And then when you're done, you got to tear down camp. And I get burned out. The way I manage burnout is to think about how lucky I am. Whenever I start thinking, oh man, this is a killer. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I think about a few things. I think about a friend of mine I went to high school with. His name is Bob Olson. He was a major in the U.S. Army. We were hunting buddies in high school. He died when we were 35. And I think about a lot of, man, here I am with my health and I'm out hunting in this amazing landscape, and my buddy Bob gave his life in service for our country. I better appreciate every single day of this. And then I think about just looking at this big landscape, this public land, and say, what a great country. I don't care if I'm tired. I don't care if I'm dragging butt. There are people in their office. There are people in the city. There are people who had to go to work today who would give anything to be sitting where I am. And I'm getting up. I don't care if it's cold out there. I don't care if I'm tired. I'm getting up and I got a smile on my face because I'm going hunting. And so for me, that's how I manage burnout. You still get it, but it's all about managing it. So, let's see. When is your next season of Fresh Tracks coming out on Amazon Prime? We're trying to figure that out. Have we decided that for sure yet? I don't think we've laid a date on it yet. David's about halfway done with those edits. Randy, what's your Sitka jacket for the extreme cold? Oh, they have this Calvin down jacket. You can't hardly move in that thing without breaking into a sweat. So that's a big one for me. Man, how are we getting this many questions tonight when none of the invites worked? You didn't get the text invites. Social media group didn't do the Instagram or Facebook invite. You guys are killing it tonight. I can't get to all these. Have I ever hunted the panhandle of Idaho for elk? No, I haven't. I wish I had some tips for you, but I don't. How early in the season do I start scouting for elk? I don't do a lot of scouting out in the woods. I think we've talked about that a lot. I'm working with GoHunt to do a bunch of e-scouting stuff because I do more scouting right here in my office than I do out in the hills. And I know that probably seems weird, but it's just, it works for me. So I don't know, maybe if I didn't have it so many hunts like back to back to back to back in a year, maybe I'd go out and scout just because it would get me out in the woods. But I don't really do it much. Let's see. Any unexplained encounters during all your backcountry hunts? More than we can talk about. We should probably do some shop stories. And Jonathan's over there like, shop story material.
Mexico.
Yeah, in New Mexico. Because I was telling these guys in New Mexico, and in one backcountry hunt, I met a guy who had a 22 bullet in his calf. I mean, he looked like he was spaced out, man. We come to the truck, and he's there talking to us, and I'm looking, and he's got this little bullet hole in his calf, and there's blood running down it. And he asks us if we have any water. So we give him some water, and then he's like, well, do you have any food? So we gave him a little bit of food, and he stunk so bad. I mean, it was just rank. And finally he left. And then when we get to civilization a few days later, we hear that there's some dude out in the Gila Wilderness area that they're looking for some suspected crime. And it's this guy. But by now, it's too late. So I could go on. I mean, every time I go to New Mexico, it must be something about the Roswell UFO thing that New Mexico just has this. Me and New Mexico have had some crazy encounters. So, yeah. You see some, you spend enough time out in the woods, you're going to have some interesting encounters. No doubt about it. At what temperature do I switch over to insulated boots? 0 degrees Fahrenheit is when I start thinking about insulated boots. Let's see, Val Vidal in New Mexico. Have I hunted it yet? No, but I sure would like to. I mean, it's no secret, and their draw odds are terrible. So, and the way I do my Arizona or my New Mexico draw odds, I give you 3 choices. So I do a super hard one as my first choice, so-so one in my second choice, and my third choice is just what's the easiest tag to get. And so I doubt that I'll ever draw Val Vidal. So, ever use an enclosed cargo trailer for a camper? Oh yeah, if you go to our 2016 season. I slept in that camper in New Mexico, Nevada, Colorado. I said that we were hauling around this Yamaha Viking side by side, and I'd just roll it out and throw my cot in there. And Marcus, he'd go set up his tent somewhere or whatever. So yeah, I've done it. The only thing I found is it gets a lot colder in there because it's all metal, or it seems like it anyhow. Maybe it was just me. I see you hunt all over the West, but not Idaho. Why is that? I hunted Idaho this year. I always try to hunt Idaho. It's just give me a tag and I'll go. So I've hunted twice. Which Mystery Ranch backpack is your go-to pack for elk hunting? It's either the Metcalf or my Beartooth 80. Those are my 2 main packs for elk hunting. And again, if you want to save 10% on your Mystery Ranch pack, go to Go Hunt Gear Shop. Use promo code Randy. Save 10%. So, someone just asked a question. Where was that? Man, they're flying. Someone says, I take it the guy with the 22 slug in his calf was a New Mexican? Yeah, I mean, he looked, he could speak really good English. He didn't seem like he's, other than he needed a shower, man. The dude had not, for a long time, showered. He just had some mean BO. I mean, he was, what do they say on Trailer Park Boys? He was kind of greasy. He was greasy. Really greasy. Do I prefer to hunt solo or with someone else? It depends. Someone asked me this question because last week we just ran my solo deer and elk hunts in Montana. And someone said, why did you decide to self-film and go by yourself? Well, every once in a while, I just want to go by myself. Nothing against my crew or my camera guys or my hunting friends, but every once in a while, I just want to go by myself. So I can't say I have a one way or the other. Hunting's pretty social for me anymore, so I'd say my tendency is I look for someone to go hunting with, but every once in a while I just want to go by myself. So let's see. You ever try the Arizona over-the-counter elk hunt? Nope, I haven't, and I probably never will because I know that area. I've been there, and it's going to be some super, super tough hunting. But if you want to, give it a try. So let's see. My favorite way to purify my water. There's a bee-free made by Catadine. I really like that. I use their gravity filter. I use Platypus gravity filters. Those are probably the 3 ways that I do it. I really don't like pump filters. I find the gravity ones work quicker, faster, do a larger volume of water, and they compress just as small as a little pump one. So, I think that we timed out over there on Instagram, maybe not. So let's see. Any recommendations for hunting in Northern California? Mary, I wish I did, but I've not done it. I've hunted pheasants there once and ducks there once. That was down by Chico. So, someone's talking about my dancing here. My wife, she saw my dancing too, and she was not impressed. She said, "Please don't dance anymore on camera. Please don't." So, let's see. Do I carry a sidearm while archery hunting? No, I don't. Let's see. Randy, I just bought a Mystery Ranch Metcalf and I can't figure out how to get it mounted to the side, my rifle mounted to the side without it being super tall. I don't know. I don't have that problem. I don't put it in the pouch. You know, there's the pouch back there. That's not where you put it. You just buckle it to the side. I don't have that problem with it. So maybe it's something in where you're putting the buckles. So works really good for me. But let's see. Promo code Randy didn't work on Go Hunt for crispy boots. If they were on sale, no, they won't. It doesn't work on sale items. I know that. But I don't know. Someone says, how do I start an LLC? It's pretty easy. This is tax advice, right? I'm a CPA. You go to the Secretary of State, you download the forms, domestic limited liability article of incorporation, you fill it out, and you send in your $20, and you got an LLC, a limited liability company. How's that, huh? No charge for that advice. And any attorneys watching this are saying, Newberg, shut up. Send them to me. I want to charge them $1,000. That's why no attorneys send me any clients, because I think attorneys will try to take your money before they'll try to do anything. Now I've made most of the attorneys mad too. So who did I make mad earlier? I made some wise. Oh, I called people communists. They didn't like pineapple on their pizza. Well, you know the problem with attorneys is 99% of them give the rest of them a bad name. That's the problem with attorney. Paul just finally got the joke. He looked at me like, what? You know how it's usually 1% give the rest a bad name? No, not with attorneys. 99% of them give the 1% a bad name. So, what rifle did I use when I went on my caribou and moose hunt in British Columbia? I used a Howa 300 Win Mag, shooting 180 grain Nosler partitions, and the scope was a Leupold BX5 HD. So, how many points to draw the Montana General Elk Tag? It varies. You're guaranteed it with 2 right now. Sometimes, I think last year 60-some% of the people with 0 or 1 point drew the tag. So hard to say. Depends each year, but you're always in the running, because what happens in Montana is a lot of people, when they don't draw their limited entry tag, they say, I want to refund my general tag. So a whole bunch of them get reissued and reallocated to people with 0 and 1 point. So let's see. How do I dispose of my wild game carcasses after butchering at home? Most states have disposal areas at a dump. Technically, if you go throw it out in the woods, that's litter. And with CWD, you don't want to go throw spine and skull and brain matter out in the woods, because if you shot that deer 300 miles away where there's CWD and now you bring it home and you go throw that carcass out in the woods, there's a possibility you're spreading CWD now to that area. So it's going to be pretty dialed in about where you can dispose of carcasses. In fact, Montana is actually talking about new regulations right now of what the carcass disposal rules should be. So, let's see. How many points for the Wyoming general tag? 1 to 3, depends on if you put in for the expensive special draw or you put in for the lower price regular draw. So, have I ever killed a big buck in Idaho? Nope, I haven't. I haven't killed very many big bucks at all, Idaho or anywhere. Are there any bull elk hunting opportunities in late December or early January? Well, if you live in Montana, we shoot cow elk pretty much year round. So I don't know of any bull elk hunting opportunities at those times of year. But, I'm going to keep picking on Montana for how hard we kill elk because we just absolutely hate them. As you can tell, I'm kind of frustrated with the way Montana manages elk and how we never give them a break. I don't know what we have against elk, but we want to clean them off the landscape is all I can figure. So, do Montana residents have to draw a general elk tag? No, we can go buy it over the counter. So, let's see. Have I ever hunted in Virginia? No. I cannot believe how many questions there are tonight. This is crazy. Any 2021 tax tips? Yeah. Make your CPA promise you that you're going to get a refund. And it's on them. So, I'm the last guy you want tax tips from. My wife is looking for a good tax accountant. So, if you find one, let her know. Donnie Drake is over here giving me a bunch of static. Have you seen Donnie's mohawk? Did you watch the Elk 101, the Destination Elk premiere last night? Donnie's got like this big rooster mohawk going. And his dad joke of it is, he's like, Randy, you know how I ended up with his mohawk? I'm like, he's serious when he's talking to me. I'm like, no, how did you come to that conclusion? Well, I didn't have much money and I saw a sign that said, haircuts 2/3 off. So they took 1/3 off each side and left 1/3 in the middle. And so Donnie's the king of the dad jokes. So, Donnie, don't be coming over here giving me grief, man. I taught you everything you know about grouse hunting, and you guys did a pretty good job of it last night over there on the Destination Grouse series that you're doing. Did we eat a mountain lion when we ate the wolf? Paul shot a mountain lion. It was a predator pit here, okay? We ate mountain lion and we ate wolf. And there's a real estate office across the parking lot, and the lady drives by because we had a big barbecue thing going on. She's like, oh, what are you cooking? I'm hungry. And when we said wolf and mountain lion, she just got this, what? Yeah, wolf and mountain lion. You want some? Boom, off she went. She rolled her window up. We didn't mean to scare her off. We were polite, weren't we, guys? She just didn't have an appetite for wolf or mountain lion, I guess. So if you had an open country, broken terrain elk tag in Montana, how would you go about e-scouting? That's interesting. I'd try to find where the best food is. Depends on if I was archery hunting. The very first thing I'd ask Mike is what season? Early, pre-rut, peak rut, post-rut, late rut. And once you tell me that, then I can answer the question of what my next step would be. What do I feel is the biggest threat to hunting right now? Nathaniel, you're asking for an opinion, and when people ask for my opinion, it usually creates a stir. So here's what I think the biggest threat to hunting is going to be, and has been in my lifetime, is we're focused on fighting over a smaller and shrinking pie. We come up with elaborate point schemes, and let's allocate these tags to this group of people or that group of people, and we're missing the bigger picture. We should be building a bigger pie. We should be putting more elk on the mountain, more sheep on the mountain, more ducks in the air. We need to focus more on conservation and more on habitat, because if we create more elk, more deer, more sheep, more moose, that's more tags, that's more opportunity. And that will improve our draw odds way better than any elaborate point scheme. Point schemes are designed by old gray-haired farts like me who want to make sure that we get to the front of the line and all you other folks get to the back of the line. It's that simple. And so when we take that mindset in the CPA world, I always took my clients into two categories. Are they scarcity thinkers or are they abundance thinkers? And it determined what type of advice I gave them. Because if you're a scarcity thinker, you say, the pie is shrinking, it's scarce, I want to fight really hard for my little piece. Well, that person is receptive to certain types of advice and certain types of ideas. Abundance thinkers say, you know what? There's so much opportunity. I can make such a bigger pie. I can grow this and grow that. And that person has a different type of advice that they're looking for and will be receptive to a different type of advice. And quite honestly, those are the people I'm attracted to. So I suspect when you asked that question, you weren't trying to get a dissertation about abundance versus scarcity thinkers. But in my mind, the biggest threat from hunting is not anti-hunters. It's the complacency among all of us who are here today. It's kind of a, hey, I want my pie. I want my piece. And I'm willing to fight for this scheme or that legislation or whatever to make sure I keep my piece. And that's not what got us here. If you look at what got us from the wildlife disasters of the late 1800s to the growth through the 1970s and 80s to what we enjoy today, those people, our predecessors, were all abundance thinkers. And I see a trend towards that, and I think preference points and all those other stupid schemes are part of the problem that contributes to this idea of scarcity thinking. So that's an opinion. You got to be careful when you ask me a front-ended question that's an opinion. So I can't imagine how many emails I'm going to get over that one. So probably going to be how can Pennsylvania grow their elk population so there's a bigger pie and not a lottery draw? More habitat. I mean, you guys have done pretty good for what you started with. Look at 1980. You didn't have any elk. Look where you're at now. And every couple of years, you guys are adding a few more acres, and a few more elk. And yeah, you're never going to be like the western states because your landscape's been so developed. But you're way better off than you were. So I can't believe I went into such a long-winded dissertation like that, but I did. So, how do we grow the pie? How do we use this platform to put more critters in the wild places? That's a good question, Sean. We've talked about doing videos on this. You can do it by yourself, with a small group, or with a national group. And I'm going to use the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, for example. They were founded in 1984. The number of elk in the United States since we formed an advocacy group for elk, the number of elk has went way up. We now have elk in Pennsylvania, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Missouri. I always have had them in Minnesota, but hardly any. So we've got 9 new states that never had elk until the Elk Foundation came along. Kentucky has 13,000 elk. That's how we build a bigger pie. And I don't care if we're talking sheep, if we're talking mule deer, whatever. We put our shoulder to the wheel and we push the conservation wagon up the hill. And it doesn't happen overnight, unfortunately. It takes 3 T's: time, talent, and treasure. And we all have one of those. Some of us might have 2. But most all of us have a little time or some talent or some money. And we put it towards that cause. Now, I know people right here in my home state of Montana who formed little groups. And they've made a huge difference for, some sheep herd. They've adopted this herd of wild sheep. Or they've adopted this wetland or whatever. We can all make a difference. But it comes with saying, here's what I want to accomplish. Here's what I want to be a part of. And building a plan and committing to getting it done. And that's what's built conservation in the United States. I mean, yeah, we have state agencies that help us with it. We have Pittman-Robertson that spreads money back. But the real work, the time, the talent, and the treasure has come from hunters and anglers and private citizens. And so it's cool to live in a country where we have conservation by the people. And I think because we have conservation by the people, that's why we have so many public hunters, so many public anglers. Go to Europe and see how many people hunt public land or fish public water. We got it figured out in this country. There's warts and bumps and lots of room for improvement, but we've really made some cool progress in this country. And it's been done because we just said, you know what, we're going to do it. This is what we want for an outcome. We want a bigger pie. And we form organizations, whether it's big national ones like the Elk Foundation or Ducks Unlimited or, Wild Sheep or whatever it might be. Or we form our little rod and gun club or our little bow hunters association. Whatever it is, that's how we make a difference. So, this is the second time someone's asked me this today. Randy, have you ever considered going on Joe Rogan? I don't think you pick up the phone and call Joe Rogan and say, hey, Joe, I want to be on your podcast. I think that requires Joe having his peeps pick up the phone and say, hey, I want the president on my podcast. I think I'm pretty low down that list to be on Joe Rogan's podcast, but oh well. He's interesting to listen to for sure. Randy, do you recommend becoming a Wild Sheep Foundation member? Well, the fact that I'm a Summit Life member probably says, yeah. Put my money where my mouth is. But let's see. I should do more live streams. I don't know about that. Every time I do a live stream, I get myself in trouble. And a lot of people who do what I do, they think I'm crazy for all these live events I do. They're like, well, what if you say something stupid? You can't take it back. If my mouth is moving, there's about a 60% chance something stupid's coming out of there. So I'm like all of you. I don't have any big secrets, any formulas. I just feel like when we're doing this, we're sitting around a campfire, we're down at the coffee shop or whatever. I view every one of you as friends, and I wish I could answer every question that was here. And I don't know. I'm not worried that if I say something, I make a mistake, that you guys are all going to jump on me and, oh, what an idiot. And if you did, well, I probably deserved it. So, but you got one or two good final questions, guys? I've kept them a long time here. But, we got to make sure that people know Randy Newberg knives are out there at gerbergear.com. Save 20% when you use promo code Randy. And Loophole just came out with, they got 17 new products this year. Go to loophole.com, check them out. If you want to save some money on your Loophole products, go to Go Hunt and use promo code DQ, and you get 5% off. Optics don't have very big margins, so they're not gonna, not a lot of discount can be had with optics. Let's see. This one. You may have heard that my buddy Corey Jacobson, who owns elk101.com and owns the University of Elk Hunting course, he asked me over the last few years, would you and your crew and the Go Hunt guys, would you guys partner with me to help provide some of these resources? Because Corey's so busy, he's already got, John and Tyler who work with him, who are great people. He's got Donnie. But he wants to take his university course to the next level. So I said, all right, Corey, my production crew, consider them your employees when you need them. And Go Hunt said, you know what, our technology group and everything else, consider them your employees when you need them. So we've kind of formed this partnership. Corey's still the guy, he's still the brand, but we're partners with him to help him out in those things. So, University of Elk Hunting course. If you haven't taken it already, you should. And if you use promo code Randy, you're going to get 20% off. But watch that course. We're going to start building more content and more content and more content for the University of Elk Hunting course. That's one of the most exciting things that I'm working on this year, is our collaboration with Corey and Donnie and Tyler and John and that crew over there. It's exciting. Everything we do is kind of elk-centric, right? We're Elk Talk Live here. Corey's stuff is elk-centric. The University of Elk Hunting, Elk 101, Go Hunt, they're all about elk hunting. So I think if you combine us all, we're going to have some some pretty fun stuff when it's all said and done. And destination version 4 Destination Elk that we're planning for this fall, going to be really cool. So, let's see. I'm looking. What's our best one, Jonathan? Come on, man, help me out here. All right, here's one. I like this one. What is the most overlooked or underrated item in your pack that most people seem to forget, and why is it important? So I'm going to say this item's not in my pack. This item's on my body, and it's my brain. And I know this sounds kind of weird, but follow with me here. Every time I go out and make a mistake or don't fill a tag, I learn way more. There's no gadget, no tool, no gizmo that I can buy that's going to be as valuable to me as that failure that I had or that mess up of that encounter. And so time and days out in the woods, I don't care if it's tough hunting conditions, if it's in a unit that isn't that great, that is the most valuable tool I have with me when I'm out hunting. It's the experience and lessons I've learned. And there's nothing in my pack that compares to that. And just, there isn't. So I know that's not something you can go down to Sportsman's Warehouse and buy. You can't go to Go Hunt and buy that. That's just time and in the field. So, all right, guys, that do it? Hey, thanks for being here, folks. God bless America. We love it. Stay warm. It's cold here. Hope it's not that cold where you're at.